Hi, welcome to Module 13, Taking the Stage. This week, we're going to talk about what it's like to actually be in person when you are presenting. I know most of us have now probably returned to work or to school face to face, and we're probably more likely to be attending an event in person and also to probably be presenting in person, whether it's to your colleagues or if you're fortunate enough at a conference or an event. So let's talk about what it's like when you finally step out on that stage and you have a live audience in front of you. So if you remember, Mark Bowden told us that people are wired to be indifferent to us. He said when you walk out on that stage, you've got 7 seconds to impress them. So what can you do? Well, I've broken down a couple of things based on what the science tells us about how we can interact with people, with our audience, to help us engage with them and help them truly understand the importance of our issue or our talk. So the first is to make eye contact, and not like in a creepy way, stare them down. But what you should do is look out across the room and find someone, find a friendly face, make eye contact, then look to the middle of the room, then look to the left of the room. Make sure that you are not too quickly, make sure that you rest your eyes on someone in the audience. If you can make eye contact, hold that eye contact for at least a second, and then it becomes actually a conversation. When you have that, people will trust you more, and they are more likely to listen to what you say once you've made that eye contact. If I nod, I'm making eye contact, they'll start nodding, and then it becomes a conversation. You should also slow down when you're making that eye contact, so slow down at the end of the sentence, make the eye contact, and then move on. And you want to make sure you don't just stay to one side of the room. Make sure that you're evenly distributing it, right? And it's the number one thing that the TED Talk people tell you to do when you get on the stage. Tell you to rehearse before you get on the stage, but make sure that you're making eye contact. I'm going to play this quick video of Tony Weaver, who was nominated one of the top 30 under 30 by Forbes. He is an award-winning writer and educator, and he's the creative director of Weird Enough Production. So I want you, as you're watching this, he was speaking at the Frank Gathering. I want you, as you're watching this, to notice how he looks out at the audience. He's on a stage, so he's lit, and the audience, it's fairly dark. And even though he probably can't see too many people, we still see that he has the appearance of looking out. And so it seems like a very comfortable conversation, if you will, because he's making eye contact clearly as he goes around, and he's looking from left to right to center. So let's watch it now.
Excited to be with you all here today. My name is Tony Weaver Jr., and I am the founder of Weird Enough Productions, a media company building a new world of stories that will change the one we live in. Now, question, is anybody familiar with the Power Rangers series at all? Do we have any Power Rangers fans? Okay, so Power Rangers as a franchise has been around longer than I have been alive. However, there is one thing that is consistent throughout every Power Rangers series. Whether they're pirates, ninjas, or in space, one thing always remains the same. The Power Rangers are always a group of teenagers with attitude, and when they come across a problem and something that seems larger than themselves, they mumble the words, "It's morphin' time," and they go and get things done. So I've always been into things like Power Rangers. This is a picture of me at 3 years old, dressed as Batman, and I put this picture to show that I've always looked good in capes, okay?
All right, I love that talk. So the second thing you can do is use your hands. We've been talking about that on video, how to make sure you bring your hands up into the screen. When you're on the stage, when you're using your hands, make sure to use your entire hand. Don't do what we call pterodactyl by leaving them right here at with your elbows hooked at your chest and moving them back and forth this way or up and down. Use your whole hand. If you're saying they went over there, I had three things, I'm using my whole arm. I'm not keeping my hand down here and saying 3, right? So use your arms fully. Studies have shown that using your hands is innate. It's fundamental to language. In fact, we have gestures before we have language. If you watch babies, before they can talk, they're grabbing for things, or when they're frustrated, they shake their hands. So the hands are tied directly to language. People that are blind use their hands. So we know that it's a fundamental part of learning and understanding and language. So we also know that when we use our hands, it helps us access memories. If you've noticed, when you've forgotten something, you'll probably start using your hands more because you're trying to remember. So it does help you in your flow to use your hands. Also, your using your hands increases your trust, your credibility with the audience. How should you use your hands? If you're not comfortable using your hands, you can think about using them in 3 different ways. Amplifiers, which is when we use our hands to show how excited we are or how emotional we are about something. Those are amplifiers. Signifiers signify something. So I had 3 things for lunch, or I'm going to tell you about 2 items. It can also be when you do like the heart symbol or thumbs up or a peace sign. The thing about signifiers, though, make sure that the ones you use are culturally relevant, because those are things that likely may not be cross-cultural. So make sure the ones you are using are relevant to your audience. And then finally, there are delineators, and delineators are means of showing something, like for spatial information. So it was this high, or it was this small, or this big. So these are ways, if you're not comfortable using hand gestures, you can specifically think about, what should I do? What can I do? Think about, do I want to do an amplifier, a signifier? When you're not using your hands, keep them down by your side. When you're going to use them, bring them up. Try to keep them equal. If you can, every now and then, if you're going to do an amplifier and it goes up here, or a delineator, it was way up, that's fine, but then bring your hand down. And then remember to try to keep your hands in the box, which is right in front of your chest. So you want to keep your hands, so between your chest and your hips, around that size. You don't want to keep them too low or too high up here. They basically want to be sort of in front of your chest with your stomach open and your palms open, which I think Mark Bowden told us about that as well. I'm going to play a little bit more of, I'm going to play it again, Tony Weaver, so you can watch him now focus on his hands and how he uses his hands. And he's even got a clicker. So at the beginning, he does a bit too much, I think, gesturing with the one hand, but then he gets into the flow and he's using both hands really nicely.
How's everybody doing? Excited to be with you all here today. My name is Tony Weaver Jr., and I am the founder of Weird Enough Productions, a media company building a new world of stories that will change the one we live in. Now, question, is anybody familiar with the Power Rangers series at all? Do we have any Power Rangers fans? Okay, so Power Rangers as a franchise has been around longer than I have been alive. However, there is one thing that is consistent throughout every Power Rangers series. Whether they're pirates, ninjas, or in space, one thing always remains the same. The Power Rangers are always a group of teenagers with attitude, and when they come across a problem and something that seems larger than themselves, they mumble the words, "It's morphin' time," and they go and get things done.
The other thing is to keep your chest open and your back straight. So I don't know if you've read anything about power posing in the study that Amy Cuddy did that was so popular. However, later, it was not replicable, meaning that it was debunked. And what she had said was that what her study had found, or so she claimed, was that when people are standing up straight, they feel more powerful because their cortisol is lowered and their testosterone is raised. And even though that has been debunked, you can't say anything bad about standing up straight and feeling strong and feeling proud. So just by doing that alone, you are going to exude confidence, and your audience is going to feel that from you as well. You're going to feel powerful. Also remember, when you are standing up straight, stand in one place, move across the stage with purpose. Don't rock in one place. Don't box step. A lot of people do that. They take one step forward, one step back, one to the left, one to the right. When you're moving on the stage, do it with purpose. Walk to one end, talk, stop, walk to the other, stop, talk, center, stop, talk. Don't fidget in one place. So plant your feet, shoulders back, stand up tall, and you'll feel powerful. And like we said earlier for webinars, if you can stand, do. Otherwise, sit at the edge of your seat so you're sitting up tall and you're not slunched over. And the other thing that Mark Bowden had told us about was smiling and raising our eyebrows. And remember, it has to be a real smile. It can't just be like a grimace, and it's got to show our teeth. So, and we know that smiling rewards not just us, but others as well. So just like when we make eye contact, if I make eye contact with you and I smile, you are more likely to smile, make eye contact. And if I nod and I'm smiling, you're going to do that as well. So, and also when you smile, you can hear it in your voice. And we know we'd like you to vary your voice. That's another way that you can really engage your audience by varying the volume and the pace and the pitch. And this comes really if you practice and make your speech less of a script and more of a conversation. When it is extemporaneous, you will find that you get more inflection in your voice and you're less likely to sound scripted. And if your audience thinks that you're fake, they will lose connection with you. If they feel that you're just reading a script, that you're up there, you've memorized this script and you're not really feeling it, the audience is going to feel that too, and they're going to lose connection. All right, so for this week's homework, you are going to take one of the mini recordings you've done. Could have been the one you did at the very beginning, which was your toast that you gave, or your celebration. It was your original recognition talk that you did, whether it was for a wedding or for an award. You can use that one. You can use your true story, any of the ones that you've done so far, your informational one. And I want you to do it in front of a live audience. You do not have to use visuals, but what I want you to do is give that. Could be just your roommate, that's fine, or a friend, or a parent, or your child. And I want to see someone in the room watching you, and I want you to stand up and give that talk. You got to be standing. I want you to give that talk, and what you can do, either set your laptop up, or if you have a camera, make sure you do it horizontally, and you could prop your camera up somewhere and film yourself, because I want to see that there's someone in the audience. It could be more than one person, absolutely. If you've got that opportunity, that's fantastic. Otherwise, I want you to have that experience of standing in front of a live audience and giving a talk. So, all right, I can't wait to see how this ends up. If you've got any questions, give me a shout. Thanks.